Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Moving to the focus conversation for today, the National Convention held by a faction of the Labour Party LP, led by its embattled national chairman Julius Aburi, has further widened the scope of its internal crisis, with aggrieved major stakeholders now threatening to pull out and erstwhile goodwill of the party tanking. The future appears bleak. The internal wrangling in the Labour Party turned messier with the re-election of Julius Aburi as national chairman, despite the Board of Trustees' claim that his tenure has expired. To have this conversation with us is Dr. Dayo Kayode. He is a political technocrat. Good morning, Dr. Dayo. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Dayo, are you there? Can you hear us?
Hello, good morning. How are you?
We're doing okay. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, fine. I hope you enjoy your Easter holiday.
Easter was good. Yes, it was. We had a good time. All right, let us delve into the internal wranglings that has been going on in the Labour Party for a while now. I would say, from my perspective, that Nigerians actually did give this party the opportunity to settle its matters on its own. I mean that an average Nigerian kind of has a different perspective to issues concerning Labour Party. We had expected that with the precedents they've set in the recent past, especially since the plans and getting ready for 2023 general elections, these people have over time proven to have their act together. Of course, there is no organization that doesn't have its own issues and challenges, which is why nobody really did pay a lot of attention when the drama in the Labour Party started playing out. But now it has exceeded a handshake, almost getting to the elbow, as the Aburi-led faction recently had a meeting that excluded a lot of other persons that you would expect should be a part of it. Other parts of factions are saying Aburi's tenure has expired. He is clenching onto power. It's been a back and forth. How do you react to the melodrama playing out in the Labour Party?
You see, number one, there is no political party that doesn't have internal wranglings, especially in the developing countries. All right? However, we need to find out what are the essence of those internal wranglings. What are the causes? To what extent are they based? Are they issue-based? To what extent? But unfortunately, you find out that they are never issue-based, other than for selfish reasons of wanting to stay in office. When you take a cursory look at Labour Party and the Nigerian Labour Congress, that is the custodian of that party. Do we have any ideological commonalities among the two? Especially when you look at the executive and then even most of their candidates. What are their ideologies? Do we have any correspondence with that of Labour? So it's a big issue there. As much as all these people that are in most of these political parties doesn't have any ideological tenets that have made them to join one party or the other. Not only Labour Party now. This is what we will be seeing. For instance, Peter Obi, the presidential candidate, had always been in PDP. What ideological changes has he to leave PDP for Labour Party. Even look at Rufai, that was formerly in PDP. What ideological tenets now making to leave PDP and join APC now is gallivanting around again towards another major party. So not until when we have a political class that is being defined by ideological tenets, honestly, what we are saying is what we see the same. That is an aspect. The second aspect is this. A party always have a constitution to which each and everybody, no matter your level within that party, must adhere to. Now, before you can have such a congress that they had, convention that they had in the East, have they been able to organize the world level congress, local government level congress, state level congress? Because there are supposed to be a procedure before you can have that. More importantly, how many of the local government, world level chairman, local government chairman, state chairman attended that particular congress? Is that what we call a congress? Equally, was INEC involved? So these are issues that we need to consider before anybody can validate or otherwise of that particular congress, to be able to know how the wranglings in Labour Party have been resolved.
All right, Doctor. Talking about party ideology, it's a far cry when it comes to the political landscape in Nigeria, because the names you mentioned are not just the only ones who have experienced. Even the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar was one time in PDP and moved over to the APC in scout for a ticket to run on the platform of the APC for the presidential election. We saw that again, after which he didn't get a ticket, he came back to the PDP. We've seen that in various ways. Now, talking about party ideology, we know that that does not in any way exist in Nigeria, because the issue of interest-driven will always come to the play. But then, let us put our minds on the National Convention, because as it were, the National Convention of any political party perhaps seems to be one of the largest gathering, of any political party, because that's where you have one of the highest decision body coming to place. Looking at it from the National Convention that was just held recently in Nnewi, Anambra State. Now, what do you think about the organization of the National Convention, where Abure never in any way carried along party stalwart? I'm talking about from the governorship to the House of Reps to the Senate, and of course other local government party stalwart before the convention was held, because for a fact Peter Obi asked him to do that, but he never went ahead to do that. So what's your view on that?
You see, George, I said it at the beginning that our political class in this part of the world are bereft of what we call ideologies. Ideology has to do with your style of bringing dividends of democracy to the people. It could be through capitalism, it could be through welfareism, it could be through socialism, it could be any. All right? But the question is, how many of them always allow their leanings to determine which party they will belong to? And because of this, we have been seeing series of cross-carpeting anyhow, among the political class. The second aspect that has to do with the Congress that was held in Ilewe. You could see that even the Congress was held in an hotel. And like I said, the National Convention is supposed to be the largest gathering of any political party. So how many people can such an hotel accommodate? Because we are talking about the structure from the ward to the national. The structure from the ward to the national. When you are talking about that, how many of these structure were in attendance at that particular convention? Again, before anybody can be elected or re-elected as the national chairman of the party, is INEC not supposed not to be part of the observers? How about the elected governors? They are critical stakeholders. How about the elected members of the legislature? They are critical stakeholders. Were they at that particular convention? No. So, to that extent, it has made that Congress a null and void activity, which has no validation according to the constitution of the land and the constitution of the party.
All right. Now, my next question would be, because already before that convention was to have taken place in Nnewi, it was scheduled to take place in Edo State, where you have the, as it were, the headquarters of the civil society group, or whether you like it, a pressure group like the Obedient and the Well-Meaning Nigerians. Now, before now, Abure had a trailer load of allegation as regards how he was able to execute the fund under his custody during the election. Ordinarily, as it were, he should step aside for an investigation into how that funds were utilized should have been carried out. Never did he do such. Now, we're supposed to see a situation where there will be a proper audit of how much was used for the campaigns, looking at it before the election that took place in 2023. That didn't happen. So do you think it was the reason why Abure shifted it, because he knew that the pressure group would not allow that convention hold, so it was shifted to Nnewi in Anambra State? Do you think that was the case?
Yes, definitely. Definitely, you cannot rule that one out, because if you follow that convention itself, you will see that some people entered that place and were distributing some leaflets, which were in contrary to that particular convention, and such people were arrested and they handed over to the police at that convention. However, when you're talking about auditing of account, or some people who are embezzle money or that, there is hardly what an outsider can say to this, because when the booty of the party were being distributed among them, they were all jolly good fellow. Like in Yoruba, they will say, Rikishi Pawonpo, Wodore, Rikishi to Pawonpo Luma Tunwota. That is, lies have brought them together. But that lies that have brought them together is the same thing that will scatter them. And that is exactly what we are saying. You can never say it is either this way or that way until when an independent body is being set up to do the audit appropriately without any form of side taking, then we'll be able to say yes, somebody had either embezzled money or not.
Okay.
Each side will be coming up with different stories that will favor them. So based on that, I will not want to say whether somebody had embezzled money or not until if the NFIU or the EFCC can set up an independent, unbiased-minded body that will now come up with the exact situation of the account.
Good. Now, the next question I want to ask you is, before now, you realize that aside from the fact that the Labour Party had its own fundraising committee to raise funds that would in some way fund the election and of course the campaign of their presidential candidate, we had funds coming from outside. I'm talking about well-meaning Nigerians and of course Nigerians in diaspora. Now Abure is saying that who determines where the convention will be held is the party structure itself. So if you're not a member of the Labour Party, I mean a card-carrying member of the Labour Party, you cannot decide where and who organizes the convention. Now my question to you is this: he who pays the piper dictates the tune. Are you saying that you ask Nigerians to support that structure in terms of funding, and when it comes to deciding where the convention will be held, it now becomes the issue of if you're not a party member, you cannot decide? What's your view on that?
Yes, you see, when it comes to political administration and financing, it's a different ball game from politicking. A different ball game from politicking. You might not be a member of a party, but still be contributing to the successes of that party. If you have been following the current politicking in America, you know the election is coming up next November. So I've been following it. You want to see that a particular person that I wouldn't like to mention his name, even came out to say he has been funding both the Republicans and the Democrats. They have been putting money there because as a businessman, you wouldn't know where the pendulum will go to. Even in Nigeria here, that was being accused, or being alleged not to have supported Tinubu, while Bua supported Tinubu. Hey, and we all saw what happened at the beginning of this administration to those two. So, being a financier of a party does not necessarily make you part of the structure of that party. All you need to do is stay at the background, and then your voice will be heard. So, if some people have been in the diaspora or in Nigeria and have been contributing through probably crowdfunding, fundraising, and all that for the party, and they are not card-carrying member of Labour Party, there is no way they can attend a Congress, except they want to go there as just an observer. And if provision are not made for observers, they will be allowed in. A Congress or convention is meant for card-carrying members of a party.
It's a sorry.
And it does not necessarily mean that you should be a financier of the party, even though you must have been paying your dues.
All right, it's
you
a
must
national
have been paying your dues
doctor.
Right from the world level.
Doctor, it's a national convention, a secret gathering where people are not allowed to use their camera phones.
You say what?
It's a political convention a national convention of that magnitude, a secret gathering where people who want to attend are not allowed to use their camera phone?
It depends. It all depends on what the committee that is bestowed to organize that convention comes up with. There are the situation whereby they wouldn't want you to. Yeah. They can say, okay, they don't want camera because they want this thing to be within themselves. It's a party affair.
So that makes it a secret gathering, isn't it?
Why they want to do what and why they don't want to do what.
That makes it a secret gathering, isn't it?
Well, it is you that is calling it a secret.
Right.
They will call it a secret.
Right,
they will call it, you're saying you want to have a credible, fair, and acceptable convention.
All right.
But you might call it secret. They won't see a secret.
The board of
They own
trustees.
their convention. They own their party.
Dr.
They take their decisions.
Let's take it back
They
to
don't
where
want
we
that is being
started from.
supported by the majority.
Dr. D, let's
Yes.
go back a bit to where we started from. Away from the convention that happened and the gap in between. The board of trustees of Labour Party claimed that Aburi's tenure has expired. I want to believe that this is coming from the court ruling, of course, that came up sometime in March. I think it was on the 6th or the 7th of March 2024 that officially again reinstated Aburi as the national chairman of the Labour Party. That is away from the 2023 court order that told him to stop parading himself as a national chairman. Now, with that court order in place and members of the party, especially the board of trustees, saying his tenure has expired, put it together, how does this make sense? If he has just been reinstated as a national chairman, then why do they have a problem with him and members of his committee functioning as the officials, with the powers to officiate the affairs of the party? Some persons, I think some of the members of the NEC of Labour Party actually filed that court suit against him. They were told to stand down. With that court ruling that we have right now, does he not still have the powers or the right to function as national chairman and, of course, to go ahead and conduct a national convention? Where do you stand on this?
You see, yes, the courts had made a ruling on who is the right chairman of Labour Party. But again, when you're talking of BOT are supposed to be composed of former governors, former this, former that. Has Labour Party ever had a former this, former that before now? So, what also made the BOT members to be members? What? These are issues that between you and me is beyond the courts. Rather, I think Nigeria Labour Congress and then the leadership of Labour Party. I'm not a member of Labour Party. I'm only part of the political class, and I want sanity in our national political class. That's why I'm saying this. All right, I would prefer a situation whereby the leadership of Nigeria Labour Congress and that of the Labour Party and the major stakeholders can come together and resolve this issue amicably. Because before you know it, 2027 is here. And like we are saying, we don't want a situation whereby one particular political party will be controlling the whole country just because other parties could not get their acts together. My major concern is not about what the law court had said before or what whether somebody is in BOT or not. Rather, let the stakeholders in Labour Party come together and then lovers of Nigeria join them in saying the truth towards resolving this problem within the party. That's just my take on that.
All right, Josh. All right, it is a very interesting period of time in the Labour Party. But quickly, just before I let you go, with everything going on in the Labour Party right now, and the history of how the political class in Nigeria had, at the level where they had placed them. You just mentioned in your last submissions that the Labour Party has almost never had persons in key political the past, and that formed part of a lot of conversations that surrounded the Labour Party during the 2023 general elections. Yes, the conversations were around how that these people do not even have members representing them at polling units, at the time. And it continues to play out now, because we don't even know what they mean when they say the BOT, because they don't have people who have what it takes to function in that capacity. With this drama playing out right now, currently tearing the party apart, what's the implication for Labour Party? I mean, with everything going on, where would it leave them? We might think 2027 is far away, but it is close. Even close. Gubernatorial elections that would happen in the next couple of months, where they have candidates vying for the position of governorship in some of these states. What does it entail for the Labour Party at a time like this?
You see, the implication of what is going on now is not going to be good enough for Labour Party and the opposition. They should listen to the statement of their presidential candidate, Peter Obi. He said, even in the Bible, he said, okay, go to the village and join them and change them. But if they refuse to change, the Bible did not say you should die with them. He said, pick your shoes and even sweep up the sand of their village down there and then leave. That is to say, any moment from now, if those problems are not solved, Peter Obi and his supporters might want to leave Labour Party. And then what populates Labour Party? Look at where Labour Party is having a governor in I think I know those states, right?
Abia State.
Look, the assembly members are defected to PDP last week, saying that the problem in Labour Party is too much and cannot be resolved. So they all decamp to PDP. Okay? So these are some of the implications that will be seen in the coming days. However, like I said, the leadership, the stakeholders of NLC and Labour Party itself and some very political class in Nigeria should come together and sincerely resolve the problem in Labour Party. Because between you and me, I don't want Labour Party to die, even though I'm not a member. I don't want it to die. It's part of the beauty of democracy. But if the stakeholders become recalcitrant, that they are not ready to solve the problems, it's a worry to them. All of them are going to lose it. And the moment they lose it, that will be the end of their political career.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. D, for coming on the show today. We appreciate your time. drama in Labour Party is unfolding. It's almost going to look like what we're used to seeing in several other political parties we've had to deal with in the past. Apparently, Labour Party is not very different from what we usually have to deal with. As it unfolds, Dr. D, hopefully would...
This morning.
Thank you,
Enjoy
Dr.
the rest of your day, enjoy the rest of your week, and enjoy the rest of your month.
All right, and you too.